And for more, we welcome in CBS senior golf writer Kyle Porter. KP, the bread man, Tom Hoge, finally a cut above, gets the win. Sorry, I had to sneak a couple in there. I promise a couple more as well. He gets it done at Pebble, no less, KP. The big check, an invite to Augusta. Situate this moment for the 32-year-old.
Well, to match you there, I thought Hoge rolled down the stretch. He was really good on the back nine. But, you know, it was interesting because his front nine was not great. And he's somebody that you don't think about him coming from behind to chase down a three-time major winner in Jordan Spieth. And yet, on the back nine there, all 9 greens in regulation, 8 of his approach shots on the, or excuse me, 7 of his 9 approach shots on the back nine were under 20 feet. His average approach shot on the back nine, Joe, was 15 feet, which is just extraordinary at a place like Pebble or really anywhere on the PGA Tour. So I was super impressed by what he did. You know, he's somebody, Hoge is somebody that has popped recently. He was actually my sleeper coming into the week because over the last month, he's finished either in the top 5 or missed the cut in his last 4 events. So he's somebody, it's been a little bit all or nothing. And on Sunday, it was the good side of that. For somebody who last won an OWGR event, Joe, back in 2011 on the Canadian Tour. So it's been a long time since Tom Hoge. That was the second event he ever played on, or second OWGR event that he ever played. Went 0 for his next 285, and then finally got one at Pebble to get in the Masters. So big-time stuff from Hoge at Pebble.
You know, sometimes we watch guys limp across the finish line and come away with the win. This was not that. This was the guy who played the best golf over the final 9 holes, won the tournament, and that was Hoge. You speak about what he's done here over his last few starts, the boom or bust nature of it. What are you seeing in his game right now that's made him, I guess consistent's not the word because he has had a couple misses, but when he is around the lead, how has he been able to maintain those numbers here? Because he's not a guy we think of as a leaderboard watcher.
No, he's not. And he's not super long off the tee. Really, it's been approach play. And that's kind of, you know, the way he played that back nine at Pebble today was emblematic of how well he's been hitting his irons. And you know, it was funny because one of the 2 approach shots that he hit outside of 20 feet, he actually made birdie on 17 from about 22 feet away. So he took care of it with the putter. But for him, you'll see here on 16, it's all about his iron play, his approach play. That's kind of his calling card, just as it is for the guy that he chased down, which is Jordan Spieth. So when you see him pop up at an American Express, at a Pebble Beach, it's really because he's hitting his irons quite extraordinarily.
Smallest greens out there on tour, aim small, miss small, and Hoge comes up big with the win here. First career win. We do have to talk about Jordan Spieth because this week was very Spiethian in many ways. High highs, low lows, standing and staring into the abyss on Saturday. He does not come away with the win here. He can maybe take away some positives, but things got very loose down the stretch. As Hoge really peaked into some of his best play of the week, we saw Spieth get shaky again and some of those signs of the issues he's had in months past rearing their head again. How should we walk away from this week feeling about Spieth?
Yeah, 17, 18 were not great. You know, 17, he said I think he yelled, I flushed it, and he left it in the bunker off the tee there. That's the shot that you'll see right here. Michael Greller had a pretty wry look on his face the entire time, but ends up making bogey here and then played 18 just kind of strangely. He knew he had to make eagle there to kind of have a chance, so I don't read a lot into that. I think I tweeted this with about an hour and a half left to go in this event, Joe, is I didn't really care how the final 90 minutes went for him, how the last 5 holes went. It was really more about getting back into contention, feeling that again. You and I talked before this round, he hasn't really been that good over his last 4, 5, 6 events on the PGA Tour. You know, if you look at his strokes gained approach, it's been negative, 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 and that's what he's best at. I mean, that's his calling card, and it hasn't been very good. So it was good to see him really hit the ball well for 2 rounds at Pebble on the weekend. And I think, you know, for me, it shifted my optimism for the rest of his year now, or at least the rest of his spring. I don't want to take it too far into the year, but, you know, Phoenix, Riviera, and then obviously the Players and Augusta National. I have a lot of optimism for what Spieth could possibly do based on how well he played at Pebble Beach this week.
Another name I'd like to touch upon here, Patrick Cantlay, someone who lives in the 60s and has for the better part of the calendar year. Shoots a 71 here on Sunday, just never really seemed to have it. What did you see out of Cantlay over the final 18 of this tournament? He was the betting favorite heading into Sunday.
Well, he couldn't make any birdies. You know, Joe, it actually reminded me of last year when Daniel Berger won. Cantlay was in it. Spieth was also in that one. And Cantlay just he didn't really play terribly. He just didn't move forward. And in an event like this where, you know, Pebble it's not a super easy course, but it's not difficult. You have to be moving forward. You have to be making birdies. He got himself into some kind of weird spots off the tee at times late in the day. I think it was 15 or maybe 16 where he hit a bad shot off the tee, got himself into kind of some bad positions. But, you know, overall, I'm not super concerned about Cantlay. The thing for me with him is more, can you get yourself into these types of positions at major championships? He's been doing it really consistently on the PGA Tour for 6, 7, 8 months now. Can you do it at Augusta? Can you do it at Southern Hills at the PGA? I think that, you know, with him, that's what I'll be looking for the rest of the year, because he's gotten himself again into really good spots to where he could potentially go out and win golf tournaments. It's not going to happen every time. He's clearly adept at closing out tournaments. I don't read too much into a bad or a mediocre, I guess, final round here, but more so, now you got to play your way into the mix at some of these bigger events that are upcoming.
Yeah, no doubt. If you want to be one of the greats or remembered as a Hall of Famer, we remember you for 4 weeks out of the year. We'll see what Patrick Cantlay can do in those 4 weeks this go around. I know it's very early in the season, KP. We don't want to make any grand gestures or statements, but bringing things back to Hoagie here and some of the winners we've seen already this season, is there a common denominator right now on tour? Because it's not having the lead through 54 holes. That is not what gets you wins on tour these days. Guys are getting chased down. It's difficult to finish. Where do you want to be? What do you have to do to be a winner on tour right now for someone who just got his first?
Well, I think my whole career is making grand gestures and statements, Joe, so I'm not afraid to do that. You know, I think the thing that I think about, I was actually thinking about this as Spieth was coming home because, you know, again, he didn't play terribly down the stretch. He made a couple birdies on the back nine. Bogey 17. That was a bad bogey. But I was just thinking about how perfect you have to be, even for somebody like Spieth, down the stretch. So I think the theme for me is you see Will Zalatoris trying to beat Luke List, both of them trying to get their first at Torrey last week. Spieth trying to get over the hump against Tom Hoagie, who people are probably like, who's Tom Hoagie? Well, Tom Hoagie's been playing good golf, but I don't know. He's probably not a top 40 or 50 guy in the world. I think for me, it's just and statistically, I don't know if this bears out. To me, it feels true, is that every single week, it is so difficult to win on the PGA Tour. And we say that a lot, and it gets talked about a lot, but we've really entered, you and I have talked about, Joe, how we've entered this sort of golden era of guys that grew up following and watching Tiger that have kind of bloomed, like the meat of their careers, like where they're going to thrive. Guys like JT and Spieth and different guys like that. I mean, I feel bad for Will Zalatoris. What events is he going to win? I mean, I think he is going to be a winner on the PGA Tour, but it is extraordinarily difficult. And I think it really shines a light on what guys like Colin Morikawa have done, and Victor Hovland even, where it's like, man, they win a lot. Like 6 times in 70 events is a ton, because not everybody's going to do that.
And how quickly the hunter can become the hunted, as we saw here on Sunday with Tom Hoagie getting his first career PGA Tour win. KP, we appreciate you as always. All right, here's a look at the first-time winners on tour this season. Already a growing list that involves Luke List. He got it done at the Farmers. Hoagie gets it done at the Pro-Am. Taylor Gooch at the RSM. Lucas Herbert at Bermuda. There's only been a handful more tournaments than those 4 right there this season, and you're getting a lot of first-time winners as that talent pool gets deeper and deeper year in and year out.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.